Hi, welcome to the exciting Globe Labs. In this video, we're going to talk about TikTok issue as they have been gaining massive attention lately. So today, we investigated further on this topic and will be discussing the deep story. Make sure to watch all the way to the end of this video because this story will absolutely be shocking and astonishing. So without further ado, let's dive right in. And before we start, smash that subscribe button for more videos like this in the future. Now here we go. What does TikTok, which is really explosively popular among young people, have to do with national security? Everyone knows TikTok, right? It is a social media platform that uploads short videos. It is known that it is very popular with so many young people all over the world. Recently, countries such as the United States, Western European countries, Canada, and Japan have begun to impose restrictions on TikTok. It's usually the government's order or bill to remove the TikTok app from devices used or to ban the download. The EU Commission or the EU Parliament has already banned TikTok from being used on government-related public devices. In the case of India, since 2020, when there was a border dispute, 59 Chinese apps such as TikTok and WeChat have been banned altogether. In addition, similar measures are being introduced in Taiwan recently. Today, I'm going to talk about why a platform that uploads videos of young children dancing is subject to such sanctions. TikTok is a subsidiary of ByteDance, a Chinese internet mobile service company. ByteDance was founded in 2012 by a person named Zhang Yiming. It is known that it is aiming for China's Facebook. After launching several popular social media apps, ByteDance launched a platform for uploading short-form videos called Douyin in 2016 in China. And it's going to be very popular. At the same time, they launched an app that provides the same service overseas, not in China, and that is TikTok. There is Douyin in China and TikTok overseas. It reached 1 billion users in just 4 years after its launch. This is really great. SNS like YouTube and Facebook took 8 years to reach 1 billion users. You can see that TikTok is really growing rapidly. So what are governments concerned about? As mentioned earlier, TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, is a Chinese company. That's why the suspicion that the personal information of TikTok users is going over to the Chinese government continues to be raised. In fact, many of the social media and internet sites we access ask for our personal information. You may also ask if you can share this personal information with a third party. So if you want to create an account or buy something, you always have to agree that it's okay. But what about personal information? Your name, gender, date of birth, where you live, what tastes you have, what accounts you follow, and how you move around are all accumulated as your information. Based on this accumulated personal information, each company creates an algorithm and commercializes it using this. In fact, the act of collecting such personal information is also done by other companies such as Google, Instagram, and Facebook. But why is it only with TikTok? It's because TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, is a Chinese company headquartered in China. Recently, cyberspace has become very important, and laws related to personal information are being enacted. China is no exception. As a representative law, there are laws related to personal information protection enacted in 2017 and 2021. And if you combine it all with the Anti-Espionage Act of 2014, if the Chinese government requests information about a specific individual for various reasons, especially because it is related to national security, it must be given unconditionally. Then, if the Chinese government asks TikTok for my information, TikTok has become suspicious that it may hand over my information to the Chinese government. Of course, TikTok says it's not about this. Because TikTok is effectively an overseas company, it is outside the influence of the Chinese government. In fact, TikTok stores users' data in other countries such as the United States, Europe, and Singapore. And the Chinese government has never asked TikTok to provide data, and even if it is requested, TikTok says it will never give it. However, if you look at the privacy policy on this TikTok website, there is a part that says that we may share all the information we collect with affiliates belonging to the same group as TikTok. If so, you can also share ByteDance, the parent company of TikTok, and then if the Chinese government asks ByteDance to give out certain personal information, you can think about whether it actually has to be given. In this way, privacy issues related to TikTok began to emerge in 2019. Reports are published by a renowned think tank called the Peterson Institute for International Economics. The Peterson Institute is a very famous research institute that publishes many reports on trends in the world economy and international situation. We focus very much on supercomputers, AI and semiconductors, but the report says that social media platforms are also very important. So from this time, the story started to come out and it started to become a talk in the political world. Particularly strong on this issue are U.S. Congressmen Marco Rubio, Tom Cotton, and Chuck Schumer. In fact, Congressman Marco Rubio and Tom Cotton are Republicans, and Chuck Schumer is a Democrat. Even in a time of serious polarization like these days, the issue on which the Republicans and Democrats are of one mind is China. We plan to investigate TikTok and thoroughly investigate the leakage of personal information. Some even make strong statements that TikTok should be kicked out. Former President Trump signs an executive order to shut down TikTok on August 14, 2020. ByteDance is to sell TikTok's shares to an American company or quit the business. TikTok said it would file a lawsuit against this executive order on August 21, a week later, and will start a full-fledged lawsuit on August 24. And soon after, they announced that they would entrust the data management, which many people are concerned about, to an American company. But that place was none other than Oracle. A very interesting fact here is that Oracle's co-founder and CTO, Larry Ellison, was an avid supporter of former President Trump. So people talked about whether TikTok strategically chose someone who was close to former President Trump. TikTok embarks on a project called Project Texas to prove that TikTok users' data is not compromised by national security and is not tampered with. And to the academic world, the media, and the political world, TikTok's data management is thoroughly publicized. But unexpectedly, former President Trump lost the 2020 presidential election and President Biden was elected, and President Biden canceled former President Trump's executive order. Then the new government starts a full-scale investigation into TikTok. In fact, there have been some criticisms from the Republicans as well as the Democrats about this part. Recently, Intelligence Committee Chairman Mark Warner said this despite being a Democrat. Regarding TikTok, Trump was right and we need to be tougher. But why did the Biden administration's TikTok policy, which seems a bit soft, suddenly turn? I don't know exactly what's inside, but there have been a few incidents in the meantime. First, on June 10, 2022, audio files of conversations from 80 TikTok internal meetings are obtained from BuzzFeed, an American internet media outlet. Then there was a report about what was in the file. According to it, users' data is not only managed in the United States, but can be accessed from China. There is a saying that you can see everything in China. And according to this conversation, with respect to US data, it is said that they must receive instructions from the main office in Beijing. So it makes me think that China, not the United States, has decisive authority. So, TikTok sends a written Q&A to Congress regarding this matter. Their answer was surprisingly acknowledging that it is possible for an employee not located in the US, including China, to access the information of US TikTok users. But they all put the proviso on the US government team that it can only be done under management, supervision and control. But in October 2022, something else happens. Suspicions arose that they tracked data including the IP addresses of two reporters who were doing in-depth coverage of ByteDance. One was a Forbes reporter. Another was a reporter for the Financial Times in England. On the Forbes side, the truth is that there were not one, but two more, tracking the IP addresses and accessing information for a total of 4 reporters. Interestingly, in the case of this Forbes reporter, BuzzFeed already. He was a reporter who broke the scoop by covering the audio files of TikTok internal meetings. ByteDance admitted that they were tracked by 2 Chinese employees and 2 US employees. And announced that these 4 people have been fired. In fact, it is known that ByteDance employees were tracked in the circulation of these people or among the people they met. However, there is no evidence that TikTok handed over personal information to the Chinese government. This kind of personal information can just be bought from private companies. Some experts argue that if the Chinese government really wants it, there is no reason to go through TikTok to get it. So what US or European governments take more seriously is not personal information, but the Chinese government's political propaganda. As the number of people using SNS has increased recently, the number of people who read news through SNS has also increased considerably. You probably also find quite a few news through the newsfeed on social media. In particular, in the case of TikTok, young people use it a lot. According to Pew Research in 2022, about 26% of American young people responded that they get news through TikTok. That's why TikTok plays a very important role in delivering news. But through this TikTok, the Chinese government's propaganda goes out. According to the British Daily Guardians in 2019, it was revealed that TikTok ordered censorship of videos mentioning Tiananmen Square, Tibet and Falun Gong. TikTok also acknowledged this, and promised not to do such censorship in the future. And in 2020, Elizabeth Conter, Director of Public Policy at TikTok UK, went to a hearing and said this. She once censored content criticizing the Chinese government because it involved the forced labor of Uyghurs in China. So, in this way, there is a suspicion that the Chinese government's propaganda is being sent out through TikTok, but in the meantime, they conducted an interesting experiment in The British Economist. Correspondents in New York and correspondents in China were asked to search TikTok for President Joe Biden and President Xi Jinping, respectively. So, they compared which videos were popping up. A correspondent in New York searched for President Joe Biden through TikTok, and he said that a lot of videos filled with the F-word were searched. Conversely, when a correspondent in China searched for President Xi Jinping through Douyin, the search found pictures of President Xi Jinping holding hands with his grandmother and walking warmly, and that the Communist Party takes good care of the people. Of course, since President Biden's popularity isn't that great, only bad videos may have been searched for, but you may think something is strange. In particular, many social media platform companies have shut down many accounts that spread fake news related to the Chinese government. For example, there have been quite a few accounts that have been closed for spreading fake news about Xinjiang Uyghurs or fake news related to corona. So now, personal information is important, but there are many politicians who say that TikTok should be quickly removed because of the Chinese government's political propaganda. In the case of Senator Ted Cruz, he said that TikTok is a Trojan horse. In the case of Congressman Mike Gallagher, he even referred to TikTok as digital fentanyl. Federal Communications Commission Chairman Brandon Carr and FBI Director Christopher Wray said that they would like TikTok to be removed from Google Play and Apple's App Store. Interestingly, TikTok is banned in China. Of course, since Douyin exists, there is no need to exist, but in fact, Chinese citizens' data is strictly prohibited from going abroad. This is because I believe that not only Chinese security, but also content that is detrimental to the Communist Party's culture or ideology should be prevented from spreading through foreign SNS platforms. Competition between the United States and China is intensifying in semiconductors, AI, and advanced technologies. But now, the conflict between the US, the West and China seems to be deepening even on the platform. In the future, I think that the regulations on TikTok will become more severe in Western democracies, including the United States. Let's see what will happen together.